There are now new moves by the ANC and Action SA to remove the El Jamar mayor of Joburg, Kabelo Gwamanda. It appears Action SA will support the ANC in Joburg to elect the ANC's Dada Morero mayor again. At the moment, the ANC is in an agreement with the EFF, under which both the ANC and the EFF agreed they won't nominate their own candidates. But Action SA has said many times it would not work with the ANC. Its leader, Herman Mashaba, said he only entered politics to remove the ANC from power. Julius Kleinhans is from a group of organisations known as the Joburg Crisis Alliance. They're trying to improve service delivery in Joburg. He's also, as you can see from what he's wearing, the local government head for OUTA, the organisation undoing tax abuse. Julius, good afternoon to you. Would removing Kabelo Gwamanda remove any of the problems facing Joburg? Would it really make anything better?
Thanks, Stephen. I think it's a start. I think the mayoral committee needs to go with the mayor. Everything's about leadership, and we need proper, seasoned leaders in place in the city of Johannesburg. Hopefully that will turn things around. But yeah, the politics are a mess, and hopefully whoever comes into power next will give some space for the officials to do their work.
I mean, Dada Morero is the member of the mayoral committee for finance in the city of Joburg, and he's leader of the ANC region there, so he would be the person who would be the new mayor, and he would go from finance head to mayor. I mean, would that really be a big change?
I don't think it will. Hopefully the pressure from the top will take some proper action, So the thing with the MMC of Finance, Dada Morero, he's passed the budget, the surcharges went with it. We believe that budget was unfunded. We've highlighted a lot of issues participating in the public participation process within the city. But these things were ignored. It's been passed by council with a majority of votes. And we don't believe that this council in the city of Johannesburg has the citizens and businesses' best interests at heart.
What kind of action do you really believe in Joburg? What kind of political action is required? And a lot of this, it's about stuff on the ground, but it is political too.
It is very political. I think the irresponsible politics that we've seen lately is the main root cause of the problem within our municipalities. That's why they're decaying. So we need a bit more consistency. We need a structured alliance that probably has a 5 to 20-year plan in mind, so that businesses and residents can actually believe in it and come on board. Because there's no way that any political party can come into power and fix the city of Johannesburg. It needs all hands on deck, and I think that's really what's needed and which is important.
You talk about a long-term plan, and that talks immediately to stability. Now, Action SA has really, I don't know how to put this, has campaigned for years since the formation, since they were formed, against the ANC. Herman Mashaba says he created Action SA to remove the ANC from power. He's described the ANC as the devil in the past. He said just recently that the ANC was a criminal organisation. Now he's willing to work with the ANC. That probably wouldn't be stable, surely. If you say stability is needed, then Action SA and the ANC working together suddenly is hardly stability.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important for civil society and business to get extremely organized, and we need to start demanding transparency and accountability. These are the typical political plays ahead of us, and if you look at the local government elections coming up in 2 years, we as civil society need to start standing stronger, because again, it doesn't matter who comes into power, the municipality needs to function and provide sustainable basic services. And I think that's what's really needed here. We don't need any egos. A municipality shouldn't have any ideology, from a political point of view. It's supposed to create the infrastructure and the basic services so that businesses and residents can create a future and unlock that economic potential. No political powers will do that, and it's too inconsistent. So I think hopefully we'll see a change at the local government elections coming up. But what's more important is that whoever goes into coalitions or the GNUs of the world, we need to start seeing good governance and also more stability over the next 2 years.
When we look at the problems that Joburg is facing, there are potholes literally everywhere. Water services are failing in some areas. City power is battling to keep the electricity on in some places. Do you think the city of Joburg is actually capable of governing itself? Would any kind of provincial or maybe a national intervention maybe be the right course? Is that something your organisation would look at?
Yeah, I think any help is better than what it is now. The problem with intervention from a provincial point of view, it's only a short-term intervention, and then it gets handed back to the very people who's created the problems. I think what needs to happen is we need to go into a zero-based budgets kind of process within the city of Joburg. Cut the fat, ensure that the money is allocated towards providing the services. In fact, things like ring fencing funds should be coming up at the end of the day. And we need to really start looking at the basics with budgets and things like that. What we're seeing currently is an increased focus on job creation and on blue light brigades and all these kind of things. That's additional cost. It's inefficient. And I think as soon as the city can start fixing itself and reduce the cost of service and supply, we will see proper economic stimulation within the city. Because currently businesses are looking elsewhere, and we see some immigration reducing the revenue streams of the city, and that is really concerning.
So, Julius, I mean, this takes us to the next point. We know there are many municipalities around the country that just don't have the base of people who are earning money to pay, and what that means is that the council, in the end, just doesn't get the revenue. Could Joburg be falling into that trap, which is amazing when you consider the size of it and the size of the middle class in Joburg? But as you say, some people are leaving, some companies are leaving. There's competition. It's quite relatively easy to move to Ekurhuleni, perhaps, for some places, if they think that life is better there. The point I'm trying to get to is, could we be looking at a really big, long-term problem in Joburg that actually takes generations to fix?
Yeah, look, the problems we're seeing in Joburg hasn't resulted overnight either. So it's taken a long time to deteriorate to the extent that it has. But with the current plans that the city has and the budget allocations, it's going to accelerate getting much worse. So people don't really have an option. You know, you have to cut some of your losses and go elsewhere. Investors don't look at Joburg at all. It's not something that's attractive and lucrative for them to look at. And I think just to touch on what you said, and this is one of our biggest concerns and what we're driving as an example of this prepaid surcharge, people, especially your more marginalized communities, are really under pressure. And because the cities and the municipalities are not run efficiently and there's not proper financial management practices and indigent registers and things like that, we see a lot of subsidization and grants being paid by national government, but the money is not used by the municipality itself. And this inability puts a lot of people under significant pressure, and it also it steals a dignity from them, because they've got opportunities, if they've got electricity and things like that, to create and stimulate their own little businesses and entrepreneurship. So I think it's very important that those communities that are in need of free basic services be very accurately identified, and that those grants be subsidized and paid for those services and not used for other things and abused in the process.
Julius Kleinhans, thank you, from the Joburg Crisis Alliance and from the Oganisation Undoing Tax Abuse. Really appreciate the time today. Well,